We know you love.
No, or,
we know you love
no,
overtly pale white women. What's up, fam? It's your boy Demuir here, purveyor of all sounds underground. Much love and respect for you for joining my channel today. We'll be discussing the topic of the DJ Mag Top 100 DJs list. This is a list of a lot of contention, and it's been that way over the last several years. Anything from not having enough women on the list to race issues to the fact that there's too much damn commercial EDM acts on the list. But before we jump into the details, what I need from you is that SLC. Hit subscribe, like, comment, and I can tell you, I will definitely get involved in this discussion when you're commenting, because my last DJ related video, my top 5 DJs, a lot of you guys had opinions on this one, and I'm curious to see what y'all are going to say about this top 100 list, because it's definitely a little controversial, but you'll see what I mean in a bit. So what I'm going to share with you before I jump into the details of my points, and there's only 3 of them, but I do want to address this right off the bat. This is not me
being a gatekeeper of what should be and what should not be.
Like you guys said on my last EDM related video, why EDM sucks. This is pure facts and just giving it straight and what it means to you as an artist becoming a DJ and producer. So point number 1, I think it's important to keep in mind, regardless of what's on the list, because DJ Mag took a slightly different approach this year, which is mainly a commercial EDM based list, and then they had an alternative list. And again, I want to stress that I'm not being biased here, because I've done streams for the DJ Mag organization, as you can see in this video over here, and I've made the cover twice. Technically speaking. All right, so let's jump into things. Point number 1 is to keep in mind that these lists are largely subjective. You might remember my video that I did on year-end list and highlighting who's number 1 for the year based on the number of tracks sold on a particular site. It always still came with a tinge of subjectivity, meaning it anchored back to somebody else's opinion, whether it be somebody that works for the site, whether it be a few journalists, etc. And you could see that DJ Mag has taken to signing things as DJ Mag staff. It's not a particular person who's publishing these lists, and I think they do that to try and keep it neutral or balanced, or maybe they're just afraid of receiving some very hard and strong feedback like they do get anyway. So these lists, since its inception, since 1993, have really become a yardstick, to quote DJ Mag, of opinion in popular circles and tastemakers. So a lot of people look to these lists and say, okay, well, who's in this top 100 list that we should know in terms of bookings, etc. And I'm here to tell you that because it's subjective, none of this really matters. It only matters to the people that are participating in the list. It doesn't mean you're not going to get any gigs. It doesn't mean that people aren't going to acknowledge how good or how bad your set was, because we're all human at the end of the day, and really these lists do not sort of hold a value over you unless you make it that way. All right, so point number 2. I want to acknowledge and commend DJ Mag for making the effort here in creating a distinction between commercial EDM and an alternative DJ top 100 list, which is basically a representation of the underground, so to speak, in this effort. I think it's great that they did this. However, it does point out that there is a significant deviation. And I'm going to use Marco Carola as an example, who ranked 100 in the commercial list and then jumped up to the 16th position on the alternative DJ list. And just having that type of deviation, to me, says there's something wrong here. Because if anything, there should be a little bit of consistency. And I know a lot of you will say, well, no, how could there be some consistency? Because the facts are that the music that David Guetta plays versus Marco Carola are completely different. And I get that, but we're talking about who should be acknowledged in the top 100 DJs list, period, for our industry. So while I think it's great they made the distinction, on the other hand, it kind of shows that we have some problems. And another example I'll add to that is someone like Medusa. So a relatively new commercial EDM artist, but scoring quite high on the alternative list. And I just thought that was strange, to be honest, because if they're relatively new and we're talking about underground artists and we're talking about coupling Beatport sales and votes in the selection, I'm just asking, how does that happen? And last but not least is point number 3. And this is just to say that you shouldn't care about these lists whatsoever as an aspiring DJ and producer. And here's the reason why. These lists are really all about, making a distinction between a commercial side of things that say who has the best showmanship and presence at whatever festival that plays commercial EDM, and best pre-planned sets, because let's face it, a lot of them don't play their own music, much less actually DJ live. Those are facts. I'm not saying that all the people on the list fall into those characterizations, but those are just simply the facts. It does happen in the commercial EDM world. Whereas on the underground alternative top 100 side of things, we have a little bit of subjectivity there, because there is also the inclusion of Beatport sales of tracks. And you just have to ask yourself, what does that have to do with DJing? So you immediately have an apples to orange comparison. I think really and truly there should just be one list, and the one individual that I'll call out that is a great reflection of skills and over time being able to consistently demonstrate that the art of DJing and how to select songs and read a crowd, whether it's in a small nightclub versus a massive festival, is Carl Cox. He is a sterling example of what it means to be a DJ, easily moving from genre to genre and showing phenomenal technical skills. Being one of the first guys I seen play on 3 decks and then incorporate CDJs on top of that and have beats going all synced up nicely, and you're thinking it's just one damn song. He is simply just a great example of what it means to be a DJ. So if there's just one list, and it was like this before this year, you'd see that he actually topped the list quite a bit before, the advent of commercial EDM and the Dutch invasion. And there you have it. That is my specific reaction to DJ Mag's top 100 DJ list for 2020, being the commercial EDM list versus alternative DJ top 100 list. Let me know your thoughts on this one. I'm excited because I am going to jump in this conversation. I know people are going to have some very strong opinions about this one, like they've had for every year, but with the difference of adding that alternative list, I think there's going to be some interesting points made. Much love and respect to you. Peace.